In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a new design in Canva. And what we're going to do is we're going to upload an image that I have from my hard drive, and I'm going to show you how to add backgrounds and text to the image. And I have a Canva Pro account, just for your information. I've already logged into the system. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new design, and then I'm going to either choose one of the suggested templates here. So you could either do that, or you can search for a specific design that you're looking for. So like if I'm looking for a YouTube short, then I could just type that in, and then it shows up in the search. And I don't really want that one, but I'm just showing you how to do a search. You could also look for an Instagram, and it shows you different items that you could choose or different templates here. Okay, so just showing you how to do a search. Now, I can also choose a custom size. So like, let's say, for instance, I choose custom size, and now I want to do a 1280 by 720 or a 1920 by 1080, or I could just type in the size that I would like for my design right here. So let's say I just want like a 600 by, no, let's say I want a 1080 by 1080. Okay, I might want to do something like that. Okay, but I don't want any of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cancel out of there, and I'm going to choose the YouTube thumbnail, and that is a 1280 by 720. Okay, so now that's how you would choose your design. Now I have a blank canvas on the screen on the right hand side. Now what I want to do is I want to upload a picture from my hard drive or another area stored on my computer. And I also want to bring on the screen, and I also want to bring another background that I would want to use with this picture. So let's just go ahead on and upload the picture. So I'm going to go over here to the left-hand sidebar, and you're going to see all these different items I could choose from, like design, elements, and all that. But what I'm looking for is the upload button. So just simply choose uploads. And now what I want to do is search for my file from my hard drive. So all I have to do is choose upload files. Next, I'm going to go to my pictures. And then I'm going to go ahead and go find my photo that I want to upload into the system. Now, I'm going to go ahead and choose this one here, CTPNG. I can either double click it to open it or just click once and choose open. You're going to notice that my picture starts to come in on the left-hand side there. You'll see that picture. And if I just click on the picture, it'll put it right there on my blank canvas. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to choose edit image. Now notice the sizing handles around this image, okay? So it's selected. Now choose edit image. And now one of my recently used items is the background remover, but it's always at the top of this screen when I'm working on it. But just go ahead and choose BG remover. And it's going to attempt to remove the background from this picture. So now, notice how it has removed the background from my picture. And now I can start finding a background for my image. So now I'm going to go back over here to the left side of my screen, and I'm going to go down to backgrounds. So I'm going to go ahead and choose background. And I can just find any of these backgrounds. And then you just got to just search for something. You know, you got to search for what you're looking for. Like, for instance, you can click up here and search for a background, or you could come over here and choose a solid background. You can look at your recently used backgrounds. They've got landscapes, patterns, gradients, abstract, all type of stuff that you can look for in here. And I'm just going to just find one and just choose it. Okay. So I just clicked on one that I thought I wanted, and notice how my picture kind of like stays in the front of that background. So now I can start dragging and dropping this picture anywhere I want on the screen. Now remember, I want you to keep in mind, when you're working with this setup, the way I'm working with it, you have to keep in mind that it's going to be about the type of picture that you bring in. So I'm going to recommend that you use a picture that you can easily work with, okay? One that's not all cut off and everything, because notice how my picture, I had to move it to a corner, okay, so that it fits. Look at how my arm is kind of chopped off over here on this left side. So you're going to have to work with the type of picture that you're bringing in and that you're trying to crop and work with. So you got to make sure you got the right type of picture when you're putting it in the system. So I would just move this image to the left so that you can't see where my arm is kind of cut off. So you got to kind of play with it. And then, of course, if you want to keep on playing with these backgrounds, you can just go ahead and just keep clicking on the background and finding different ones you can use that you want to work with. And, you just keep on trying to find the correct background for your image. The other thing that you got to realize as well is it's not just the background that you can choose, because you can also choose a photo. So if I go to the photos bin on the left-hand side, now I can start looking for a photo. So let's just say I want to go in here and find a photo, and let's just say I want a studio. So I'm just going to search for a studio, type that in, hit the enter key, and now I can just put myself in a studio. But notice how when I clicked on that item, it doesn't fill the whole screen, because the background knows, hey, look, this is going to be a background. So it's working in unison with that. So what you got to do, I'm just going to delete this. And what you got to do is you got to drag and drop this image onto the canvas. And I'm going to try to stay away from my picture. So I'm going to move my picture over here to the right. And then I'm going to drag and drop this picture onto the canvas. And it should snap in there. There you go. So you have to actually drag and drop it onto the canvas the way you want it to be. Okay? So you just got to kind of work with it. You'll get used to working with these different tools when you're working with the system. So I'm going to go ahead and try this other image. I'm just going to drag and drop it to the canvas. And notice how it just snaps there in the on the screen. Okay? And so you can do whatever you want. So now I've got myself here in this studio, and I'm going to go in here and just kind of find some other pictures that I've already uploaded. Like, for instance, I've got a picture right here. I'm going to get rid of my picture here now, delete that, and I'm going to drag and drop this other picture here onto the canvas. Okay, now, notice how when I did a drag and drop with my picture, it took over the entire canvas. So what I want to do is I want to choose Command-Z on a Mac or Control-Z on a Windows machine to undo that. And I just want to just click on the picture. And when I click on the picture, my hopes is for this picture just to show up on the canvas. I don't want this to take over the whole picture, the whole screen. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to inch this thing over here. Let me see. Oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the picture, and now it goes onto the canvas. Sometimes it acts a little strange, but mainly you don't want it to take over the whole canvas. Let me undo that and just give you a little bit more troubleshooting here. Let me show you what happens if I drag and drop it on here and it takes over the whole picture. See, now it wants to act right, but let me do this again. You see how it takes over the whole picture? Oh, you see how it takes over the whole canvas? Well, if you just right-click on it and choose Detach Image from Background, then it gets rid of that. But also notice how it got rid of my background image, okay? So then you got to go back and find that original background that you had and bring that back. And, of course, I'm sorry. Let me go back over here. It's a studio. So then I got to go back over here, bring my studio back. There we go. See? Okay, now, take a look at what's going on here. What's happening is this picture has a background on it. So what I need to do is I need to click on this picture, go back over here to the edit image, and then choose background remover so that I can remove that background. Even though it's a plain background, I don't want it there. So I'm going to remove this background from this image. Okay, now here we go. So now I can like move us over here, move this picture over here in the studio. So again, remember, it's the type of picture that you're using that's gonna make the difference in your design. Because if you have a picture, like I said, that's cut off and it's not working, and like half your arm is cut off and everything, you're gonna have to compensate for that. So like I was trying to put this picture in the studio, and I could just kind of like drag and drop different backgrounds in here. So now we're like in a studio. I got this picture in a studio. So that's working kind of nice. But let's just say I would like to do Merry Christmas. And now I can just, find some different Christmas pictures and then just drag and drop them in here. And then, of course, you want to be able to move this picture so that you're not cutting off the words to Merry Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes what you could do is you can just right-click on the picture, choose Detach Image from Background, and now you can kind of play around with this, move this up and over like that, and then kind of like move this up a little bit and then drag this down. And then you can actually position this. So now notice how your picture is gone. So now you want to move this Merry Christmas sign to the back. All you got to do is choose Position and then choose Backward, and it brings the picture back to the front. So at this point, you can kind of play with it, especially if you have words. Because if you have words on your canvas and you don't want your people to overtake the words, then you got to kind of play around with that. So every time you turn around, there's some kind of way that you got to fix something, So anyway, let me try this other background. So this is one. That's one way. Sometimes when I'm working with these graphics and I'm trying to do my holiday cards, what I'll do is I'll create another image. So I may want to duplicate this so that I don't mess up my original one while I'm here playing around with this other canvas. So now I can work with this and preserve the one above it. So now I'm on page 2. So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to drag and drop this Merry Christmas sign on here. Okay. So now see how this works? So you have a lot of different flexibility when you're working with this. Not only that, but if you want to, notice how we're blending in, or this picture is blending in with this background. So what you could also do is click on this image and then go up here to this transparency. Click on that. And you can say, I don't want this to be as transparent. So maybe I want to dial it down to like 75%. And now it's not, this picture is not blending in with this background anymore. But it doesn't look as pronounced as it did before. So you might not want that. But I'm just kind of showing you how you can change the transparency on your background. I'm going to drag and drop another image here. And when you do that, you got to remember to change the transparency, because on the last canvas that you had changed it. So now you got to change it and dial it back up to 100. So there's a lot of different things that you can do when you are working with images in Canva. I mean, the sky is the limit. I mean, you can do almost anything you want to do. It's just all about the picture that you want to put on the canvas. Let me just give you a little bit of tips here. Notice how this picture is sitting here, and when I put it here, it's actually covering up the green bulb behind it. So you probably want to keep that green bulb. So make sure that you keep certain color structures there. If you got like a dominant color, don't get rid of the color that is the only one sitting on the page. There's a lot of things about design that you may not realize when you're working with these elements, because you're just putting things on the screen. But then there's a lot of things you got to think about when you're adding your elements. So like I said, Don't get rid of that green bulb behind. So, you want to make sure you move the picture over so that can show up and be in the picture. And of course I'm going to do this red one. I'm just kind of playing around. Now, mind you, the reason why those bulbs are gone is because I chose a whole different background. But again, the sky is the limit, okay? So now let's just say I've got this picture sitting here, and this is what I want to use, but there is no words, Merry Christmas or anything like that. So all I got to do is come over here. I could actually put this text right here, Merry Christmas. I actually found some Merry Christmas text, okay? But what I want to call your attention to is this Merry Christmas text has like a silver color in it, right? It's silver, but the background lights are gold. So you might want to keep the consistency with the gold lights. So like in this particular case, there's no way for me to change the color of the words Merry Christmas because it's an actual image. So you can't make any changes to that. But if you were to go and create your own text, you can just come over here to the left-hand sidebar, click on that, and then you could just find some text that you want to use. You can either use some of the text that's already sitting here in this template and use any of the template text here, or you can just go ahead and just choose one. I'm just going to choose this largest text to add a heading, and I'm going to just kind of like move this over, and then I'm going to now type Merry Christmas. Okay, the text is showing up as white. I can just make sure I select that text. Then when I select the text here, I can go up here to the A on the menu bar at the top here to choose the text color. Click on that. And now I can try to start finding a similar color to these actual lights that's showing up here. If the color that I want doesn't show up here, I can then go up here to the palette and click on this palette to add another color. And I can begin to start looking for another color that matches what I want. Not only that, but I could also find the actual color that I want and type it in right here at the top. So let's just say, I know I did have a color swatch number. Oh, this is not the color that I want, but this is an actual color. It's # FF, hold on, FF0066. It's fuchsia. And I'm just showing you how you could, if you had your color number, you could just type that in, and then you could just click on it, and it brings it into the canvas, which this is not the color that I want. But let's say, for instance, I want to change that. I can come back up here to the swatch, click on that, and then just go in here and then just click the X to cancel out of those colors. And I'm just going to just bring it back into white. But once again, I'm just showing you how these tools work. If I want to change the font, I can select the text, go up here to the multi-color, because it's a multi-black color that's showing up here now. Click on the drop-down arrow. And then all I got to do is start choosing whatever font I want, So like if I want to get like a decorative font, I could click up here, and then they'll show you these different types of fonts. There's handwriting, corporate, choose the right pointing arrow, and then just look for the types of fonts that I'm looking for. I don't see anything yet, but let's just say I want to choose school. I'm just kind of like doing a whole bunch of different stuff. And now here is Merry Christmas in a school font, So these are just a lot of different tools that you can use when you're working with Canva. So anyway, I hope these tips are helpful to you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up if you thought these tips were helpful.